Hi, welcome back to our online preparation course for the TOEFL test. This time we are going to continue getting prepared for the reading section. In this module, we are going to be focusing on a type of question that is called unstated question. The TOEFL takes two different kinds of information in this type of questions. The questions that are not true and the questions that are not mentioned. Most of the students get really confused between these two different types of information. It may seem very obvious, but eventually it is not. So it is very important that you take these two definitions into consideration. What is something that is not true? It means that the information appears in the passage, but it is incorrect. On the other hand, when something is not mentioned, the information doesn't appear in the passage. As I said, this can seem very obvious, but at the moment that we are taking the exam, we can get very confused about it. So that's why I prepared for you a very easy exercise in order to get introduced to this type of questions. Here we have a passage. It says, David Beckham is a former soccer player who spent a long time playing at the Real Madrid team. He's married to Victoria Beckham, an ex-Spice Girl. They have 4 children, Brooklyn, Romeo, Harper, and Cruz. They used to live in England in a place called the Buckingham Palace, but now they live in the United States. Okay, so let's start with questions that are not true. The question is asking, which of the following is not true about David Beckham? Letter A, he played soccer in the Barcelona team for a very long time. Letter B, he's married to a former integrant of a pop band called Spice Girls. Letter C, he has 4 kids. And letter D, he used to live in the Buckingham Palace. Remember, they are asking us for information that appears in the passage, but that is not true. Maybe it is incorrect. Okay, so the answer for this question, as we can notice, is letter A. He played soccer in the Barcelona team for a very long time. If you notice, it is actually mentioned in the passage that he played at the Real Madrid team. But the option says that he played in the Barcelona team. That's why the information is not true. Let's see an example about questions that are not mentioned, information that is not mentioned. We have the same passage, but now this time they are asking which of the following is not stated about David Beckham. And we have, again, 4 options. He played soccer in the Real Madrid team for a very long time. Letter B, he's married to a former integrant of a pop band called Spice Girls. Letter C, he has 4 kids. And letter D, he's happily married. If you notice, A, B, and C are clearly stated in the passage. Letter D is the one that is not mentioned. It doesn't mean that it is not true. It means that it is not mentioned in the passage. It is very important that you have this difference very clear in your mind. Okay, so now let's go to real practice, okay? As I already said in the previous videos, we never read the complete passages. We go directly to the first question. So, now that we have understood the difference between information that is not true and information that is not mentioned, we have this passage and we have question number 1. Which of the following is not true about the word gadget? We have 4 options. A, it is used to name something when the name is not known. B, it was used at the beginning of the 19th century. C, it most likely came from a word in the French language. D, its first known use was by British sailors. Okay, so it is important that we identify keywords in the question and that we find them in the passage. And from there, we can apply the elimination method. This is something that I invented in order to explain that you have to start eliminating options and the one that stays is the correct answer. So in this case, we have the word gadget. And if you notice in the passage, the word gadget is underlined. Okay, so it says that it was first used by British sailors in the 1850s. So letter D is not correct because it actually was used by British sailors. So letter D is not correct. Then we have that it says a kind of expression that people use to give a name to anything whose name is unknown or momentarily forgotten, the word gadget. So previously they gave the definition and then they mentioned the concept. So if you notice, letter A is not correct because, in fact, the word gadget is used to name something when the name is not known. Then we have that it probably came from the French word gâchette, or I don't have any idea how to pronounce this. So letter C, it most likely came from a word in the French language. So if you notice, that is not the correct answer because it was in fact used in the French language. So if we already applied the elimination method, so the one that stays is letter B. It was used at the beginning of the 19th century. That is the piece of information that is not true. If you notice, the information is mentioned, but it is not true. Why it is not true? Because it was not used at the beginning of the 19th century. It was used in the middle of the 19th century. Okay, let's do another example. We have number 2, which of the following is not mentioned in the passage as an expression for something that is not known? If you notice, this question is different from the previous one. In this one, they are asking you for something that is not mentioned, something that doesn't appear in the passage. So, what is an expression for something that is not known? We know that is a gadget. We know that is the French word. We know that is what you call it. It's a what's-this, it's a thingamabob, it's a thingamagic, a do-that, or a doohickey. So, letter A, a thingamabob, appears in the passage. It is mentioned. B, a gadget, appears in the passage. A doohickey is mentioned in the passage. So, the option that is not mentioned in the passage is a what is it? So the correct answer for this question is letter D. What are some of the common questions that can tell you that they are asking you for these unstated questions? Which of the following is not stated? Which of the following is not mentioned? Which of the following is not discussed? All of the following are true except. So now let's see the most important tip to answer this kind of questions. We already mentioned it, but let's review it. First of all, remember, you need to identify if the question is asking for untrue or not mentioned information. That can make a huge difference in the exam. Then we need to choose a keyword in the question and find it in the passage by scanning very quickly. Then we need to read the sentence that contains the keyword or idea carefully. We apply the elimination method in order for us to have only one option. And we have to choose the answer that is not true or not discussed in the passage. That is the one that we left without using in the options. Okay? So now it is your turn. Go to the practice section and apply this tip in order to answer unstated questions. See you next time. Bye-bye.